Welcome and thank you for standing by. All participants are in a listen-only mode for the duration of today's conference. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the call over to your host, Mary McKay from the U.S. Census Bureau. You may begin, Mary.
Thanks, Anthony. As Anthony just introduced me, I'm Mary McKay, and I work in the American Community Survey Office at the U.S. Census Bureau. I'd like to quickly let you know that today's webinar is being recorded, and if you'd like to follow along with our webinar today, we have posted the slides online. They are available at the link you see at the bottom of the slide, and they are also posted in the chat. A recording and transcript will be posted on our website within the next few weeks at the same link. If you have any questions during the webinar, please post them in the Q&A section of WebEx, and one of our team members will try their best to respond. Together with my co-presenter, Maria Alicia Serrano from the YMCA of the USA, I want to thank you for attending today's webinar on using American Community Survey data for nonprofits. We are hoping this presentation will illuminate the value of the ACS to meet the many diverse needs of nonprofits of all sizes. Before I delve into the ACS data and what they are all about, let's start with a quick overview about the U.S. Census Bureau as a whole. And yes, we do more than just count people. The Census Bureau is the largest of 13 primary federal government statistical agencies. In 2020, the U.S. Census Bureau employed more than 10,000 professional staff and 450,000 hourly employees to conduct the 2020 census. Only 3 U.S.-based companies, Walmart, Amazon, and Yum Foods, had worldwide workforces that were larger. While most people are familiar with the decennial census that happens every 10 years, we also conduct more than 130 censuses and surveys of households and businesses across the nation each year. This includes the American Community Survey and more than 30 other household surveys. There are also over 60 economic programs. Of these, the Economic Survey is the biggest and most comprehensive. There is also information on our nation's public sector provided through the Census of Governments. The Census Bureau's mission is to serve as the nation's leading provider of quality data about its people, economy, and our goal is to provide the best mix of timeliness, relevancy, quality, and cost for the data we collect and services we provide. With all the Census Bureau produces, it can be overwhelming to decide what data are most relevant to you in your work. We want to highlight the power of the ACS as the largest household survey produced by the Census Bureau. Let me go through the plan for today's webinar. So first, I'll be going over the basics of the American Community Survey, including the history of the survey, the topics included, and the geographies covered. Next, I will discuss some of the tools available to help you access ACS data, including a quick demonstration of our main data dissemination platform, data.census.gov. Following, Maria Alicia will dive into more detail about how ACS data can be used for nonprofits specifically. And then I will cover some resources available on our website for learning more about the survey as you begin or deepen your own journey of using ACS data for your needs. The ACS is on the leading edge of survey design, continuous improvement, and data quality. It is the nation's most current, reliable, and accessible data source for local statistics on critical planning topics. The survey samples approximately 3.5 million addresses each year. These data are collected continuously throughout the year to produce annual social, economic, housing, and demographic estimates. The data collected through ACS are used to distribute more than $675 billion of federal government spending each year. Our estimates, covering more than 40 topics, support more than 300 known federal uses and countless non-federal uses. So some examples of programs that use Census Bureau data to determine funding include the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the Department of Health and Human Services Head Start Program, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Community Development Block Grant Program. The Census Bureau typically releases 3 sets of data estimates from the ACS each year in the form of 1-year and 5-year period datasets, as well as 1-year supplemental estimates. The American Community Survey is part of the decennial census program. It's important to point out how the ACS is different from the census. So the ACS is actually the long-form version of the decennial census. From 1940 to 2000, a sample of households were selected every decennial year to complete the long form. But due to a demand for current nationally consistent data, led federal government policymakers to consider the feasibility of collecting social, economic, and housing data continuously throughout the decade. Thus, the ACS was officially implemented in 2005 to collect annual data from a sample of households throughout the country. Back to their differences. ACS estimates are based on a sample of the population, whereas the census is based on the official count of the population. Every year, over 3.5 million housing unit addresses are contacted by the Census Bureau to participate in the ACS. The information obtained from the sample is then used to estimate characteristics about the total population in a timely and cost-effective manner. However, these estimates differ from those that would be obtained in a census where every household in the nation is contacted. This results in an element of uncertainty in the ACS. As such, ACS estimates include a margin of error, or MOE. The MOE gives us more information about the population by telling us how much the estimate may vary from the true population value. What does the ACS collect? The ACS collects information that previously appeared on that census long form, as I said before, collecting detailed social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics, whereas the census collects basic demographics via the short form, so that's age, sex, race, Hispanic origin, household relationship, and housing tenure. What is produced? The ACS produces population and housing characteristics, whereas the census produces population and housing totals. When are the new data available? The ACS occurs annually, reflecting a period of time over which the data are collected, averaging data for 12 months or 60 months, whereas the census occurs every 10 years and reflects a point in time, so census date is April 1st. You may be wondering, what method does the Census Bureau use to collect ACS data? In a typical year, the American Community Survey data collection operation uses 3 modes that take place over a 3-month period: internet, mail, and personal visit. However, 2020 was different due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which did affect our ability to follow our typical timeline on collecting data from local communities. Typically, for most housing units, the first phase of data collection includes an invitation for the household to respond via internet, which is mailed to the sample address. Internet data collection started in 2013. If the household does not respond via internet, a paper questionnaire is sent to the sample address for the household to complete and return by mail. If the Census Bureau is unable to reach an occupant of the sample address or the unit had an unmailable address, the address may be selected for computer-assisted personal interviewing, known as CAPI. If the census receives an internet response or completed paper questionnaire from the sampled address at any point of the process, we remove the address from the data collection workload. Also, respondents are always able to call the telephone questionnaire assistance line at any point during the 3-month data collection if they have questions about the survey or prefer to complete the survey over the phone. The content collected by the ACS can be grouped into 4 main types of characteristics: social, demographic, economic, and housing. You may see in this list some topics that are relevant to the work you do on a day-to-day basis. So taking a closer look at the type of information each of these categories contain. Social characteristics include topics such as disability status, education, and language spoken at home. The American Community Survey also collects basic demographic characteristics such as sex, age, race, and Hispanic origin. This is that same information that is collected on the decennial census. Then the economic characteristics include topics such as commuting to work, employment status, and income. And finally, housing characteristics include topics such as computer and internet use, housing costs, and vehicles available. These topics are used to produce more than 1,000 tables for local communities each year. Along with the numerous topics covered, the ACS also provides data for more geographies on an annual basis than any other household survey. The image on this slide shows some of the geographies for which ACS data are produced and the relationship between them. Lower geographic areas fit neatly within larger areas directly connected with lines. For example, school, congressional, and state legislative districts fit neatly within states and do not cross state boundaries. However, they may cross boundaries of counties or metropolitan areas. In this visualization, you can also see the smallest geographic building block is the block group. The ACS's unique ability to report on a wide range of geographies is what gives it such a broad appeal. Covering a wide range of geographic areas, ACS data are most commonly needed at the state, county, place, census tract, and block group geographic levels. This slide illustrates the relationship between some of these common geographic types and how they are nested within one another, as this example shows in El Paso, Texas. So census tracts are small statistical subdivisions within a county with populations of about 1,200 to 8,000 people. So think small towns, rural areas, or neighborhoods. Block groups are groups of blocks within a census tract with about 600 to 3,000 people, as you've seen blown out in the right corner of the screen. It is important to note that block group data are only available in the detail tables produced. So those are tables in data.census.gov that begin with B or C. And we will be seeing data.census.gov shortly, not to spoil any surprises. So again, the ACS has the ability to report on a wide range of geographies, as well as provide data at very granular levels, like census tracts and block groups. A few slides back, I mentioned that the different products the ACS provides: 1 year supplemental, and 5-year estimates. These data products are released about 1 year after the data are collected. ACS data are generally released in September, the calendar year after collection, as 1-year estimates, in October, the calendar year after collection, as 1-year supplemental estimates, and in December, the calendar year after collection, as 5-year estimates. For example, the 1-year ACS data collected from January 1st through December 31st of 2019 were released in September of 2020. ACS 1-year estimates, which combine data collected over 12 months, are available for geographic areas with populations of 65,000 or more. ACS 1-year supplemental estimates are a subset of detailed table that are available for geographic areas with populations of 20,000 or more. 1-year supplemental estimates are simplified versions of popular ACS tables and provide the most current data to almost twice as many geographies compared to the standard 1-year release. ACS 5-year estimates combine data collected over 60 months and are available for geographic areas of all sizes down to those granular census tracts and block group levels. Again, the block group level data are only available in detail tables, and census tract data are available for all data products in the 5-year estimates. The full detailed data release schedule for each year is available on the link you see on this slide, which you can also navigate to by visiting census.gov/ACS. I want to briefly mention that the 2020 data release schedule looked a little bit different from the standard schedule shown on this slide. Due to the impact from the COVID-19 pandemic on ACS data collection and data quality, we did not release our standard 1-year ACS data products as planned. Instead, we released a set of experimental estimates from the 1-year data. We did, however, release the standard 5-year estimates, which are available on data.census.gov, which you're going to see in my demonstration coming up. So please see the data release page listed on this slide to learn more information about the 2020 data release schedule. I just covered some background information and the basic foundation of the ACS, and now I want to briefly go over data tools which use as well as provide ACS data. And I'll also finish this section with that brief demonstration of data.census.gov. We cater to a variety of data users with unique needs, so we have a variety of data access tools. This is a list of a few of those tools. I'm gonna focus today on data.census.gov, but if you have any questions about additional tools listed here, I do have contact information at the end of this presentation where you can reach out to get further information. So data.census.gov is the Census Bureau's main data dissemination system, and it is the primary way to access ACS data. I want to now go in and show you how to use this with a brief demonstration. There are a few considerations to be made before reviewing ACS data in this context. Because it is a household survey, the ACS provides information about those who reside in your area, not necessarily those that work there. Depending on your geography of interest, there may be different data sets available to you. To remind you, our 1 year are only for geographies with populations of 65,000 or more. 5-year estimates include all geographies regardless of population size. So to learn more about data.census.gov, please visit the links at the bottom of this slide. So I'm going to use data profiles to look at social, demographic, economic, and housing estimates from the ACS. Data profiles are types of tables that offer numerous variables at different geographies. These profiles provide a broad look into a location. So here we are at data.census.gov. To begin, I'm going to type in DP0 asterisk into the search bar. Using an asterisk allows my search to return all tables that begin with DP0, meaning all the ACS data profiles should show up. So as we see, here are the data profiles. Note that the fourth one down is for Puerto Rico. I'm going to start with DP05, ACS Demographic and Housing Estimates. So the nice thing about data.census.gov is that there are many roads you can take to get to your final destination. I say this to let you know that what I'm doing in this demo is not the only way to do it. With that said, when the table loads, the default location is the United States. We see that this product is from the 2020 ACS 5-year estimates. The default is the most currently available data for that geography. So let's limit my geography. I'm interested in looking at Erie County, New York. So I'm going to click on this filter for geography, where this window will show up, and I'll click on county, scroll down to the state of New York, click Erie. I know Erie County selected because it shows up here in my filter option. When I click the X, I see my results for Erie County. Again, I see that it's from the 2020 ACS 5-year. I can click on this dropdown to see other year and data products. So since Erie County has a population over 65,000, it does have 1-year estimates available. Looking at this table, it's a great starting point. So for example, you might be interested in looking at younger populations. So one nice thing here is if you're looking for, say, the population in Erie County under 20 years, you can combine these 3 categories to get that estimate. We also have established age categories such as under 18, so you don't have to do any calculations on your part to look. If you scroll down, you see race and ethnicity as well. So you can continue to explore other data tables. So I'm going to select DP02, selected social characteristics. So let's say you work with the foreign-born population, and this table has a lot of selected social characteristics. So I can scroll down here and see in Erie County, about 37.3% of the foreign-born population entered the United States in 2010 or later. And even further, I can see about 48.9% were born in Asia, and about 19.4% were from Europe. So this might be helpful as you begin planning programming, or you're just trying to learn more about the populations that you want to serve or that you're serving. Another nice feature of data.census.gov is that you can pull up multiple geographies. So let's clear Erie County by clicking the X here, and I'm going to select 3 places, Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse, all in New York. So I'm going to show you a different way to limit the geographies, this time using the icon along the top. So that same window pops up, and this time I'm going to select place, which is the census geography for cities, towns, villages. I scroll down to New York, and I see that this list, when it loads, it's very full, and that's because we're using the 5-year estimates. For example, if you click the 1 year, it only includes populations with areas with populations of 65,000 or more, which luckily my 3 have that, so I can select it in this list. But if you don't see your place, just make sure you're selecting the 5-year. My 3 places are here, I know because they show up. I click the X, and now I have all 3 cities on one table. From here, you can download the Excel or the CSV or zip, depending on what you need. I will say the Excel format is going to be the one that mirrors this browser most closely. So I hope this brief demonstration was helpful to seeing how you can easily look at demographics of your geographies of interest. Note that there are several valuable webinars and data gems available at census.gov/academy to help you learn more about accessing data via data.census.gov. I now want to pass the mic over to Maria Alicia Serrano, who will dive into some specifics with using ACS for nonprofits.
Thank you so much, Mary. Really excited to be here this afternoon to share a bit more about how the YMCA is using data to improve our communities, in particular, the data available through the American Community Survey. As Mary said, my name is Maria Alicia Serrano, and I am with YMCA of the USA. Also on the call is my colleague, Mark Mistretta. Those who know me know I love a good quote, especially a good data quote. And as you can see on the screen, I've got a quote here really about the importance of data is helping organizations provide new and relevant skills to all employees. And that's what's so exciting about the great ACS products that are available, is that it allows those of us in the nonprofit space really to expand our skill sets so that we can better support the communities in which we live. I'd like to give a bit of context about the why in our structure, because I think it'll help you understand a bit more about the work we've done in developing what we call our Insights Hub. Now, the Y was founded over 176 years ago in London with a focus on meeting the social needs of everyone, regardless of social class or other factors, and came to the U.S. in 1851. As you can see on the screen, we have a large national footprint, and it's likely if you live here in the United States that you've seen a building or a school with the logo with the Y logo on its side. But the Y is more than a building. It's really about the people from all backgrounds and walks of life who come together to improve their lives, nurture their families, and strengthen communities. So our purpose, as I said, is to strengthen communities. And the way we do that is by connecting people to their potential, their purpose, and each other. And in terms of the definition of what is a strong community, we developed a definition based upon research that you can see the building blocks of on the screen. We consider community a strong one when the community-specific needs are met, people and group can pursue their goals, all community members strive, and the community can mobilize when resources are needed. We work across 3 different areas of focus of youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. And that covers a huge breadth of work. And it's important for you to hear that when you think about the type of data to which we need access. So something that we developed in beginning in 2019 is what we call an Insights Hub. And on that Insights Hub, which you see a screenshot of that in your screen right now, we have access to a variety of tools on both internal and external data. The tool that I'm going to focus on in our conversation today is called Community Insights. Community Insights really is a tool that allows YMCAs to understand even more about the characteristics of the communities that they serve. We're an organization that is extremely proud to be for all, and we want to make sure that we truly are reaching all segments and members of the community. And by visually displaying data, people are more likely to understand and engage that information. This includes us using maps and various data layers, as well as custom infographics. In the Community Insights tool, Ys are able to go and access a variety of data, both internal YMCA data, as well as American Community Survey data, to understand more about the location of different populations. And this is an example of one of the infographics that takes a lot of the ACS data and provides a nice visual way that YMCAs are able to share with their volunteers and community members the characteristics of their communities. So if you just give me one moment, I'm going to switch my screen and I'm going to go into showing you Community Insights. So you see on the screen Community Insights. And one of the things that we knew Ys needed to be able to understand was the racial and ethnic characteristics of their community. So if we go into this search bar here, I'll put in one of my favorite places to visit, Los Angeles. And one of the questions that Ys regularly want to make sure they're understanding is any shifts in the racial and ethnic compositions of their community. So we have here a data layer that is based at the track level that is based upon the 2016-2020 ACS. And the Y in Los Angeles can now use this information to understand where there may be concentrations of particular populations and what resources and supports might be needed in those populations. For example, the Y in Crenshaw in this predominantly Black population, one of the things I want to do is make sure that the staff and members are representative of the community. And by providing this easy access to ACS data combined with local YMCA data, it makes their work even easier. In addition to understanding the social characteristics of the communities we serve, it's important for YMCAs to understand the economic characteristics of those communities as well. So we'll go to my hometown, Kansas City, Missouri, and there are several Ys there as well. And then we'll scroll down and we'll take a look at the poverty rates in this community by looking again at ACS information on poverty from the 2016 to 2020 ACS. And you'll see here, these darker colors indicate the percent of the population whose income fell below the poverty level, and the darker the coloring indicating the higher percentage of the population. And so Ys are able to use this information as they think about the types of programs and services they offer. For example, given the large population of individuals with lower household incomes near these Ys, they might consider offering a food program that will provide healthy, nutritious meals to individuals, especially during the summer when children are often at the most risk of not having access to food. Or when the Y is looking at expanding its after-school program beyond just even its building, it might look at a location here knowing that households in this community may not have access to quality, affordable childcare. So the next community that we're going to visit is in New Hampshire. We're going to go to Plaistow. And we're going to look at information on health insurance. So one of the things the Ys is we're so focused on ensuring that households are healthy, both physically and mentally, is knowing that the lack of access to health care or through health insurance lowers the sort of resources that may be available to households in that community. So we see in this example of the Plaistow Y, this darker color indicating a higher population of individuals who do not have access to health insurance. And so again, this is why in terms of considering some of the programs and services that it offers, to use this data point to consider, well, should we consider expanding our diabetes prevention program or our Live Strong program to support individuals who are facing cancer? And they're able to also get additional detail on other communities around them simply by clicking and pulling up additional data at the census tract level about the actual number of individuals as well as the percent of the population who do not have access to health care. So those are just a few ways that YMCAs across the country are using American Community Survey data to really achieve our purpose of strengthening communities, whether it be data regarding income to help us ensure that we're serving all economic groups in the country, or information around health conditions to ensure that we're a country that's both physically and mentally healthy. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria Alicia. Before we wrap up, I do want to highlight the variety of resources the Census Bureau provides for learning more about our data, tools, and about the survey at large. First, we have the ACS main page, which is a great tool to start with if you have any questions about the ACS. This page can be found by simply going to census.gov/ACS. This website contains a lot of information about the survey, data products, tools for data users, and other helpful information. You may also be curious as to why we ask questions about a specific topic on the ACS. Every question has a required purpose and many uses to help communities. Explore the set of interactive Why We Ask web pages to discover the importance of each question. These pages can be accessed by selecting the Why Do You Ask Each Question feature. For each topic, you can browse some of the most popular results from that question and view the question as it appears on the form. We also provide information on the origin of the question, how we protect privacy, and how ACS statistics help communities. Links to our Data Tables and Tools page can be found through the ACS Data page. These web pages will introduce you to the most popular tools and data products with descriptions and links for each. The Data Tables page shown in the top right explains the ACS type of ACS table through a series of drop-down tabs. For example, you can click the Data Profiles tab to learn about what topics they cover, which geographic areas are available for data profiles, and common ways to access data profiles, such as I did in my demo of data.census.gov. Similarly, the Data Tools page shown in the bottom right explains each of the tools available for you to access ACS data in another series of drop-down tabs. These are some of the tools I shared in an earlier slide. For example, you could click on the Quick Facts tab to learn the topics included, the years available, and the geographies available for Quick Facts, as well as a link to the data tool. These pages are designed for data users of all skill levels. They succinctly explain the ACS data tables and tools available for data users just like you. We have data user handbooks available. These recently updated handbooks are provided in PDF format and are downloadable. Each one is directed towards a specific audience and contains how-to instructions on using data in different ways for different reasons. They also contain case studies which show actual instances of how the American Community Survey data were used by the specific audience of the handbook. This is a great place to start if you want an overview of more specific aspects of the ACS data. Moving on. Now, for users that have accessed the data but need more information to understand the tables and complete their analysis, we offer code lists, subject definitions, group quarter definitions, instructions for applying statistical testing, comparison guidance, and accuracy of the data in our technical documentation section. The page shown on this slide can be found by going to census.gov/ACS and then selecting technical documentation on the left-hand side. It really is that easy. Finally, from the terms American Community Survey to zip code tabulation area, the Census Bureau Glossary is a great resource to learn more about the terms you see on our website. So while browsing census data, if you come up with a term that you're unfamiliar with, follow the link at the bottom of the slide and search for that term. As we begin to wrap up today's webinar, we invite you to stay in touch by telling us how you use data from the American Community Survey. For example, have you or your organization used the ACS to make an important decision or help your community? If so, please visit the link at the bottom of the slide to share your story and explore how data enthusiasts across the country are using ACS data in creative ways. We have a few relevant stories you all might find insightful, including one about a grant writing service that uses ACS data to help nonprofits. And another great story comes from the St. Joseph Health Community Foundation, who uses ACS data to identify populations in need in their area. These stories and more offer deep insight into how ACS data can be used to help you and your community every day. Doing so provides further support for the importance of the data we collect here at the Census Bureau and is a great way to further promote our data. I want to inform you that there's a group specifically for users of American Community Survey data, known simply as the American Community Survey Data Users Group. The purpose of the ACS Data Users Group is to improve understanding of the value and utility of ACS data, as well as promote information sharing among data users about key ACS data issues and applications. The ACS Data Users Group includes a users group website and online community with over 3,600 members. We also host an ACS Data Users Conference, typically every 2 years, in order to provide an opportunity for ACS data users and Census Bureau staff to showcase their work and exchange information about their experiences using ACS data. It's actually at this very conference that Maria Alicia attended in 2021, which is how we originally connected. So imagine all the possibilities for yourself. Membership is free and open to all interested ACS data users. To learn more, go to acsdatacommunity.prb.org, listed at the bottom of the screen. If you are looking for further assistance on how to obtain or understand ACS data, our Data Dissemination Specialists, or DDSs, who are located within your region, can provide you with assistance about Census Bureau data. These specialists usually provide help in English, but sometimes in other languages as well, depending on the needs of their communities. Whether conducting one-on-one webinars with business startups or conducting large-scale presentations at universities, these specialists strive to put the public in touch with the data they need. DDSs provide a wide variety of assistance for free. If you are interested in a specific type of training or presentation, please reach out to a specialist in your area using the contact information on this slide. In closing, I encourage you to connect with us directly. If you have questions, you can reach us at the phone number above. You can sign up for and manage alerts on ACS via GovDelivery. Also, add yourself to GovDelivery if you want the slides from this presentation or any other presentations we provide. GovDelivery will send out a broadcast when materials are available. ACS also has an email to help support data users who may have questions: acso.users.support@census.gov. If you would like to reach out to Maria Alicia regarding any questions for her, you can email mariaalicia.serrano@ymca.net. You can visit the ACS website or connect on the various social media platforms using the hashtag ACSData. And one last thing, if you're using ACS estimates, make sure to source the Census Bureau as to where you receive the data. It helps people know that the information they're using is powered by the American Community Survey. We want to thank you for attending and having an interest about the important data the Census Bureau collects and how it can be a valuable asset to nonprofits. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing the great work you all do with ACS data.
That concludes today's conference. Thank you for participating. You may disconnect at this time.